remember history in school and the intriguing maps we explored. Look, whether it's an ancient world map or a chart of Westeros from Game of Thrones, maps really are a clever mix of cartography and fantasy storytelling. Not merely illustrations, they shape perception and assert control over the world. That's why I think it's really vital to scrutinize and sometimes flip them upside down. Stay tuned. I've got a real-life story that'll change how you view maps. Let's uncover the hidden secrets of map trap geopolitics. Edward Said, a hero of mine and leading comparative literature and cultural studies scholar of the 20th century, understood geopolitical power from his own experience as a displaced Palestinian during Israel's creation after World War II. He famously said, "The division between East and West has never been a simple geographical distinction, but rather an ongoing and evolving imaginary battle for power and dominance." Said also noted that Europe's biggest colonies were in the East, not just nearby. Now, his groundbreaking book, Orientalism, which I studied in university, shows how Western scholars distorted the East to justify colonialism. Thanks to him, though, most universities around the world disbanded their schools of Oriental studies and rebranded them to teach post-colonial studies. Anyway, with that background, let's get back to our story. Historical maps like Gerardus Mercator's famous one from 1569 have distorted world history. The Mercator Projection made Europe and North America seem bigger and more important, while downplaying the size of the East. This was because mapmakers often put their own region at the center, making others seem less significant. Let's not be fooled, the Mercator map wasn't made to help those being mapped. It was a tool for navigation and Western expansion that took away sovereignty, land and resources of Asia and its nations that form the largest continent in the world. Mercator's map imposed artificial borders and led the way for profit-driven domination, ignoring the original people and cultures and making Europeans seem more civilized and justified in their acts of colonialization. Maps are the blueprints of geopolitics that oversimplify and undervalue the deep culture and diversity of Asia and other regions like Africa, making them easier to conquer and control. Now, these unfair maps didn't just affect the past, they're still shaping how we see the world today. For example, recently, China's equivalent of Google Maps, the Baidu and Alibaba map platforms online, removed the name of Israel from their maps in late 2023, which coincided with the conflict between Israel and the Hamas government in Gaza. Now, this action, believed to be influenced by the Chinese government, exemplifies how geopolitical interests still shape map representations, illustrating the persistence of map trap politics. Understanding this, we can strive for a fairer global perspective. How? Now, we should remember that maps are artificial constructs that reflect the biases of their creators and cultural ambitions of the societies they are a part of. Fortunately, Edward Said once pointed out that art and literature have the power to challenge and disrupt dominant discourses. In that vein, let me share an amusing true-life story about an Australian map enthusiast who turned the world map upside down in 1979 as a satirical challenge to the established world order, a year after Said published Orientalism. Stenciling the world map upside down for an assignment altered Stuart MacArthur's life forever. Australia was north and Asia was centre, with Europe and the Americas reversed and consigned to the margins. Old Hornet tore up the drawing in frenzy. You are either insolent or stupid. You really don't know your eyeballs from your arsehole, MacArthur. Read to it. Stuart's class tittered. The 12-year-old's eyes began to water. Reversing the map had seemed logical enough from an Antipodean point of view. Yet, innovation had brought only teacher anger and peer ridicule. It was the worst day of his life. Stuart went to Japan for an exchange visit. Stuart excelled in Japanese class and adopted the local customs like ojiki, which means to bow. To improve his conversation skills, Stuart spent more time with Japanese friends than the American students who were also on this exchange program. The Americans felt insulted. You are always kowtowing, MacArthur. Shake hands like a man, they goaded with stupid kangaroo jokes, branding him the blunder from down under. Silently wounded, he would go to sit under the cherry blossoms, open his atlas, and turn the world on its head. On December 7th of that year, the Apollo 17 moon mission took the iconic blue marble photo of the Earth. The trajectory of the command module's flight deck aligned with an inverted Antarctica. NASA, in observance with government policy, published it right side up. Like everyone, Stuart scrutinized the image closely and noted the lame claim that a handheld Hasselblad camera clicking away upside down accounted for the reversed image. Unfazed, our budding map nerd discerned that there is no true north for a heavenly body orbiting spherically in outer space. It was an aha moment, and he smiled like a Zen Roshi. Back home and now enrolled as an undergraduate in the School of Geography, Stuart could now indulge himself in the study of ornate maps of continents and oceans with sailing ships and here-be-dragon monsters drawn by plunderers who charted trade routes to new worlds. He studied how cogitators created belief systems promulgating the racial superiority of North over South, while the octopus-like West, seeking to orient itself for profit, invented the East. Stuart's thesis explored Flemish cartographer Gerardus Mercator and his quest to make the world look right by dividing everything into meridians running north to south with corresponding east and west demarcations. In this manner, Stuart went gleefully into map geekery, designing a plan to put right the cartographical sins of the past. Although Mercator had produced his Eurocentric map for the age of world domination, the 200 sovereign nations across the globe now needed a world map not conceived by powerful money, dogmatic religions, spider web cultures, or third world exploiters. Modern times needed an atlas offering parity for all people. Stuart contemplated a borderless globe with new Silk Roads as pathways for mutual interdependence. With this vision, he graduated with distinction and humour. On Australia Day in 1979, the Upside Down Cartographer student published MacArthur's Universal Corrective Map, where the East was now the West and the South was north of the equator. On it, he printed, "This is the first step in the long overdue crusade to elevate our glorious but neglected nation from the gloomy depths of anonymity in the world power struggle to its rightful place, towering over its northern neighbours, reigning splendidly at the helm of the universe. No longer will the South wallow in a pit of insignificance, carrying the North on its shoulders for little or no recognition for her efforts. Finally, South emerges on top. South is superior. South dominates. Long live Australia, ruler of the universe. 350,000 upside-down map sales later, his childhood vision had been realized.
Dear Stuart, how's life down under? It's been years since we hosted you here on campus. I return to your upside-down hypothesis when everything feels absurd and I want to shake up lazy minds. Even though you have left academia, I have to tell you about the recent symposium I organized. Another conference was sharing our facility. The cheeky Aussie contingent was bidding for next year's hosting rights. They had your upside-down map taped to our whiteboard. Of course, I thought of you. Seeing Australia there on top, I chuckled audibly, then had to debate with the group about globalization, geopolitics, climate change and how our avaricious policies are contributing to so much wanton waste, destruction, and instability. And we still think we are the world's savior. The reality is that America is regularly thought of as the chief asshole imperialist of this day and age. Yes, my unplanned session, elaborating upon your fresher-than-ever map, certainly hit the foreign policy nerve. Unfortunately, my map rant rubbed a few colleagues up the wrong way. It's sad. We Americans pay only lip service to international perspectives. Deep down, my country is too invested in wanting to stay the top crocodile. We still have a long way to go. Anyway, as always, you have my undying respect and gratitude. I remain your down-under ally above the equator. Peter.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this story. Think about maps and turn them upside down. Feeling like a trip to Asia? Scan the QR code or click the link below to access my free multimedia ebook, Tokyo to Taj Mahal. It has lots of good information about 5 cities. And if you found this quick dive into East-West geopolitics interesting, I'm sure you're going to love the next video about Journey to the West, an enduring Asian epic about a Chinese monk and his motley crew of demon protectors traveling to India in search of Buddhist scriptures. And speaking of directions, did you realize that India is west of China? Directional terms can be pretty subjective. See you on the Airbus to Asia, wherever it is.